congratulations. Welcome back. Would you please tip us off this morning?
Thanks. Good to be here. Good to see some familiar faces. First of all, I just want to start by saying anytime.
The owner of the Indiana Fever, a seasoned billionaire named Herb Simon, thought he understood the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. He saw the world through the cold, hard lens of a balance sheet. And from that perspective, Clark was the greatest asset he had ever acquired. He saw the sold-out arenas, the cascade of money from merchandise flying off the shelves, and the record-breaking television ratings that had network executives salivating. His franchise, once a forgotten entity in a league struggling for mainstream attention, was now the epicenter of the sports world. He believed he had simply purchased a cash cow, a marketing miracle whose primary function was to make his team relevant and his pockets deeper. He was comfortable with this reality. It was a world of predictable, exponential growth. But after watching his perpetually struggling team walk into the heart of New York City and systematically dismantle the super team New York Liberty, a chilling, profound realization washed over him, a feeling that had nothing to do with profit margins or jersey sales. He wasn't just making money anymore, he was sitting on a cultural atom of BMB, an entity of pure, unpredictable power, and the win he just witnessed wasn't just an upset. It was the deafening sound of the fuse being lit, revealing a truth far more explosive, far more valuable, and far more terrifying than he could have ever imagined. He was in a state of genuine shock, not because his underdog team had managed to win a single game, but because in that moment, he finally understood the terrifying, world-altering scale of what he had truly unleashed upon the world of professional sports, and the weight of that revelation was heavier than any vault of gold. On paper, the game was a joke, a scheduled execution designed to showcase the league's new hierarchy. The Indiana Fever were languishing at the bottom of the barrel, a young team defined by frustrating losses, defensive lapses, and the immense, almost suffocating pressure placed squarely on the shoulders of their rookie savior. For years, the Fever had been a franchise in a state of perpetual rebuilding, a place where high draft picks went to learn the harsh realities of the professional game before often finding success elsewhere. They were walking into the Lions' Den, the glittering Barclays Center, to face the New York Liberty, a team that wasn't just good. They were a basketball monstrosity, a collection of talent so immense it felt unfair. Stacked with legends like Breanna Stewart, the reigning MVP, and a player considered one of the greatest of all time, Sabrina Ionescu, the sharpshooting phenom with limitless range, and Jonquel Jones, the dominant force in the paint, the Liberty were a team built with a single, ruthless purpose: to win a championship and to absolutely crush anyone who dared to get in their way. For the Fever, this was supposed to be another painful lesson in a season already full of them, a harsh reminder of how far they still had to go. The analysts almost unanimously predicted a blowout. The betting odds in Las Vegas made it seem like a foregone conclusion, an event with all the suspense of the sun rising in the east. The only real question being debated on pregame shows wasn't if the Fever would lose, but by how devastatingly large the margin would be. They were lambs being led to the slaughter, a mere footnote in the epic saga of the Liberty's dominant season. But something happened that night in Brooklyn that defied all logic, all predictions, and all expectations, and it all revolved around the one player everyone, for better or worse, was watching. Caitlin Clark didn't just play a basketball game against the Liberty, she conducted a masterclass in defiance, a symphony of skill and will that left the entire league stunned. Her final stat line was incredible on its own: 22 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. But those numbers, as impressive as they are, don't even begin to tell the real story of her dominance. This was a completely different version of Clark than the one the league had seen in the turbulent opening weeks of the season. She wasn't just the flashy, logo-launching shooter from her college days at Iowa. She had transformed, under the intense fire of professional scrutiny and physicality, into a hardened floor general, a battlefield commander who bent the collective will of a super team to her own. From the opening tip, she controlled the tempo of the game with the precision of a master conductor, pushing the ball with a blistering, relentless pace that left the older, more methodical Liberty team gasping for air and struggling to set their defense. She drove to the basket not with recklessness, but with a newfound aggression and purpose, absorbing punishing contact from players who towered over her and still managing to finish at the rim. Every single time the Liberty tried to make a run, Every time their superstars hit a big shot to ignite the home crowd, every time they thought they had finally seized the momentum, she would respond with something that broke their spirit. It might be a soul-crushing three-pointer from a step inside the half-court logo, or a perfectly timed pinpoint no-look pass to a teammate for an easy layup that exposed their entire defensive rotation. No, she wasn't just a part of the Fever's offense that night. She was the offense, the entire system, the central processing unit making a million calculations a second, and she made one of the most talented and well-coached teams in the world look completely, utterly lost. But the real, more complex battle wasn't just the one being waged against the New York Liberty. It was the one rumored to be happening within the four walls of her own locker room. For weeks, the whispers had been growing louder, evolving from niche online forums to mainstream sports talk shows. The media hinted at it with carefully chosen words, and fans debated it endlessly on social media, a supposed undercurrent of jealousy and resentment from some of her own teammates. They spoke of a fractured team chemistry, of veteran players who were unhappy with a 22-year-old rookie instantly seizing the global spotlight they had worked their entire careers to earn. The narrative suggested that Aaliyah Boston, the previous year's unanimous #1 pick and Rookie of the Year, was now a forgotten afterthought in the media's relentless glare. Her own incredible talent overshadowed. The prevailing theory was that Clark was a solo act, a brilliant but isolated star on a team that hadn't truly accepted her as their leader. That monumental win against the Liberty wasn't just 2 points in the standings. It was a powerful, undeniable piece of evidence in the court of public opinion regarding this hidden internal conflict. It was a moment of truth that could be interpreted in two starkly different and equally compelling ways. On one hand, it could be viewed as the single, transformative game that finally unified them, the shared struggle and glorious victory so profound that it erased any underlying friction and forged them into a true team. For the first time all season, they looked like a cohesive, interconnected unit, a team that implicitly trusted their young leader to guide them through the fire. Or it could be interpreted in a much darker, more Machiavellian light. The win proved, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that they absolutely need her to have any chance at success. It brutally exposed the reality that their own professional fates, their potential for championships, their future contracts, and their paychecks are now intrinsically and irrevocably tied to this one 22-year-old phenom. Whether they personally like her or not has become completely irrelevant. Their success depends entirely on her talent and her leadership, creating a complex and volatile power dynamic that could either forge a dynasty built on mutual respect or a team that eventually implodes under the weight of its own internal politics. And what happened next would send a tremor not just through their locker room, but through the entire league's power structure. The win wasn't just a message to the Fever's roster. It was a direct, unfiltered challenge to the WNBA's established order and its unwritten rules. Since the moment she stepped onto a professional court, Clark had been subjected to a brutal, almost systematic campaign of physical aggression that often crossed the line. She was notoriously hip-checked to the floor by Chennedy Carter in a play that dominated sports news for a week. She was constantly shoved by unseen elbows, hammered on every drive to the basket, and treated less like a superstar and more like a rookie who needed to be taught a lesson. The officiating often seemed inconsistent, with refs frequently swallowing their whistles on hard fouls against her, leading to a firestorm of controversy among fans and analysts. Many believed there was a hidden agenda at play, a coordinated attempt by veteran players, resentful of her instant fame and fortune, to welcome the rookie to the pros in the harshest way possible, to humble the college star who was getting all the attention they felt they deserved. They wanted to show her and the world that this wasn't college anymore. But her masterful performance against the Liberty, a team renowned for its toughness and physicality, completely flipped that narrative on its head. She didn't just survive the physical onslaught, she thrived in it. She proved that no amount of pushing, shoving, or cheap shots could throw her off her game or break her focus. She revealed that she could take the punishment and still methodically lead her team to victory against the league's absolute elite. This put the league office and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert in an incredibly difficult and impossible position. Their new golden goose, the player who was single-handedly driving their meteoric growth and bringing in millions of new fans, had just proven she could win even when the game devolved into a street fight. The message she sent was crystal clear. You can't intimidate me, you can't bully me, and you certainly can't stop me. The league now had to make a critical decision. Would they finally step in and start protecting their biggest star, ensuring her longevity and the health of their investment? Or would they continue to let the veterans police the game themselves, risking an injury that could derail the entire league's upward trajectory? Her victory forced their hand, turning a quiet issue into a public crisis. For Herb Simon, the shrewd businessman sitting courtside and signing all the checks, this victory meant something entirely different, something that went far beyond the final score or the league politics. The Caitlin Clark effect was already a well-documented financial miracle. He saw the tangible results every day: the charter jets the league was now funding, the sold-out arenas on the road where opposing teams were moving games to larger venues just to accommodate the demand, and the skyrocketing valuation of his own Indiana Fever franchise. But in the back of his mind, as in the mind of any prudent investor, there was always a lingering and terrifying question. What if the on-court product could never live up to the off-court hype? What if she sold millions in merchandise but couldn't consistently win basketball games? A team that constantly loses, no matter how popular its star player is, eventually sees its value and its relevance plateau and then inevitably decline. The win over the powerhouse Liberty was the exact moment that deep-seated fear was completely and utterly extinguished. It was the ultimate proof of concept for his massive investment. It demonstrated to him, to the league, and to the entire world that Clark wasn't just a marketing tool or a ticket-selling gimmick. She was a legitimate, franchise-altering cornerstone who could defeat the very best the WNBA had to offer. This is what truly caused the owner's profound shock. It was the lightning bolt realization that his investment was no longer just a safe, profitable bet. It was a potential dynasty in the making, a ticket to the kind of legacy that money alone can't buy. The enterprise value of the Indiana Fever didn't just go up that night. It exploded into a new, unforeseen stratosphere. He was no longer just the owner of the most popular player in the league. He was now the owner of a team that had a credible, terrifying, and immediate potential to compete for championships. And that is where the real generational wealth and prestige in professional sports is made. He hadn't just bought a player, he had acquired a legend in the making, and the financial implications of that reality were simply staggering to comprehend. And with that single, masterful performance, the deafening chorus of critics who had spent weeks picking her apart was suddenly and completely silenced. For weeks, they had been feasting on her every mistake. So-called analysts on major sports networks, eager for clicks and controversy, had labeled her overrated and inefficient. They obsessed over her turnover numbers, conveniently ignoring her league-leading assist totals, claiming she was too reckless and turnover-prone to ever win at the highest level. They argued that her iconic style of play, the deep threes and the flashy creative passes, was a college gimmick that would be easily shut down by the length, speed, and intelligence of professional defenses. They said she was too slender, too easily pushed around by stronger players, and that she lacked the emotional maturity to lead a team of professional women. The game against the New York Liberty served as a direct, brutal, and systematic rebuttal to every single one of those criticisms. She didn't just beat a top-tier team. She did it while showcasing every single skill they claimed she lacked. She was remarkably efficient from the field, choosing her spots and making the defense pay. She controlled the ball under pressure and made smart, decisive decisions, demonstrating a basketball IQ that was off the charts. She wasn't pushed around. She initiated contact, played through it, and still made plays. Her leadership wasn't a question mark. It was the undeniable, singular reason for the improbable victory. The critics were left with nothing. They had thrown every negative label and tired trope at her, and she had methodically dismantled each and every one over 48 minutes of breathtaking and history-altering basketball. The narrative was forcibly rewritten, not by a public relations team or media spin, but by raw, undeniable, and transcendent talent. In the end, what happened in that arena was so much more than just a basketball game. It was a seismic shift in the entire sports landscape. It was a singular victory that echoed through the corporate boardrooms of the WNBA, the tense locker rooms of every team in the league, and the television studios of every major sports network. It was the moment a rookie phenom, burdened with the weight of truly impossible expectations, proved to the world that the hype was not only real, but that it might have actually been a vast understatement of her true potential. The win against the Liberty wasn't just an upset, it was a declaration of intent. A changing of the guard played out in real time. It was an undeniable sign that the balance of power in the league was beginning to tilt on its axis, a powerful confirmation that the millions of dollars and unprecedented attention pouring into the sport were justified, and a chilling warning to every other team in the league that a new power was rising in the East. The question now is no longer whether Caitlin Clark can succeed in the WNBA. The only much larger question left is this. Was this the night that a perpetually struggling franchise took its first concrete step toward becoming an unexpected dynasty? And was this the exact moment we all witnessed a young superstar finally and irrevocably become a legend? The owner of the Indiana Fever, a seasoned billionaire named Herb Simon, thought he understood the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. He saw the world through the cold, hard lens of a balance sheet. And from that perspective, Clark was the greatest